It's not Legos. Well, the NFL playoffs are here, but that doesn't mean that fantasy football is over. It's not over. We're still playing fake football, and we're doing it, obviously, by Daily Fantasy. In this segment, we usually unbox a series of players to make decisions, you know, between high-priced guys, low-priced guys. But this is the playoffs, okay? There's no more around. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you why Michael Thomas is a good option on the Saints. You don't need me to unbox Michael Thomas. You need me to talk about some value players. Also, there's no point in talking about quarterbacks either. I trust you all to make your own quarterback picks. So what we're going to do differently in the playoff editions of DFS Unboxing is we're going to debate between two players, which, by the way, I don't need this box. One running back, head-to-head, value-type guys. Some of these random unknowns, which, by the way, I feel like I'm going to get totally dusted on some of these picks. Anyways, head-to-head debates between value-type players. Let's get right into it. No more messing around. All right, running back group number one. My head-to-head running back number one, $20 in daily fantasy, has rushed for 20-plus yards on 7 of his 151 carries this season. That is the best among qualified running backs. You can see why this fella's team made it to the playoffs, because he brings that explosive element. Running back number two, $18 in daily fantasy. Their opponent has allowed the 3rd most rushing touchdowns this season. That's kind of hard to think. Who's in the playoffs that's allowing that many rushing touchdowns? Okay, maybe in the new year, it'll be a new me where I can think about floor and security and safety, but for now, I'm still obsessed with big plays. I'm gonna go with this $20 running back who has rushed for 20-plus yards on a bunch of his carries this year. Again, who can resist a tasty big play option? This is a fine little golf clap here for Devin Singletary. It's fine. The Texans' run defense has definitely fallen apart. Devin Singletary is that explosive type player, and I feel like we started to see him get some more work towards the end of the year. You have to think that the Bills will want to establish run. I mean, also, like, look at those guns. My God, that is a huge bicep. I feel like a little baby back right now. Anyways, yeah, I like this pick. Now we move on to a pair of running backs here. Running back number one, $15 in daily fantasy, has averaged over 4 yards a carry in his last 3 games. That I have no idea who that could be. I barely even know who's playing this weekend. I'm a professional. Running back number two, also $15 in daily fantasy. Ooh, they have the 3rd most receiving yards among running backs this season, and their opponent allows the 3rd most receptions to running backs. Well, that just lines up seamlessly. We've got a pass-catching guy here, 3rd most receiving yards among running backs this year. I have no idea who that could be. I guess it could be James White. If it's James White, I'm going to be super pissed. All right, we'll find out. I guess we'll unbox, huh? That's the title of the segment. Yeah, I knew it. James White, of course, the Patriots pass-catching running back. I guess you could say that the Titans could get some pressure on Brady's dusty old ass, and that's going to cause him to dump off passes quickly to James White, who is still that pass-catching maven out of the backfield. Don't love this. You know, it could be a game where it's just not exciting. Here's the thing, it's not exciting. I want to play playoff DFS and be excited. What was the other $15 running back? Really? Oh, God, okay, well, Sony Michel, geez, I'm glad I didn't fall into that tar pit. Now, let's get really weird. We're gonna move on to wide receivers, and I got a feeling we're honest to God gonna run into some straight up dust balls. Wide receiver group number one, our first player here is $15 in daily fantasy. They have 8 double-digit target fantasy games this year. That's kind of nice. Now, that's probably Cole Beasley or something. I'm not doing that. Wide receiver number two, $13 in daily fantasy. They've caught 70% of their targets this year. Honest to God, I wanted to pick this player, but I feel like it's Cole Beasley for the Bills. But now I kind of feel like that's Cole Beasley for the Bills. I really don't want to pick Cole Beasley. I'm gonna go with this one. This little nightmare here. Their opponents allowed the 15th something to wide receivers, 15th most something. Please don't be Cole Beasley, please don't be Cole Beasley, please don't be Cole Beasley. Oh my God, what is this, a friggin' college team? Oh, this is Greg Ward, right? Yeah, it's Greg Ward. I would imagine that there's not a lot of Greg Ward Eagles gifts, so we had to go back to his days as a college quarterback for Houston here. Weirdly, my $13 wide receiver pick is the one that's got me most juiced so far. I really like the way Greg Ward, Zach Ertz, if he plays, Dallas Goedert, and Miles Sanders, and Boston Scott, and this kind of newfangled Eagles offense, which all really revolves around these guys over the middle of the field, matches up against the Seattle Seahawks because they've really struggled to cover that middle of the field. They've allowed a lot of production to tight ends. Therefore, you could also imagine they could be beat by slot receivers. That's been a problem for them as well. Pass-catching running backs. I think all of these guys are in play. If you're looking for sleepers in daily fantasy for the playoffs, Greg Ward and these little Eagles guys. That's the way to go, baby. Our second group of wide receivers. Oh my God. A $10 wide receiver over here. The Stone minimum in Yahoo Daily Fantasy has attracted at least 5 targets in his last 3 games. Wow, that's fine. Has collected over 10 yards per reception in 6 games. I mean, actually, this sounds terrible. Now, this other player, $21. I mean, I don't know if you can really pit a $21 player against a $10 player. That seems a little bit unfair. But anyways, has averaged 12 fantasy points per game on the road this year. That's 5th best among qualified receivers. I mean, come on. Like, again, resume-wise, competitively, this is just the clear way to go, the $21 guy. I'm here to hopefully bring you some clarity when it comes to these value picks. In that spirit of the segment, I really should unbox this value player here. However, I'm not gonna do it. Oh, I'm gonna do it. Look, if you're gonna play guys like Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, you're gonna need to take some chances, okay? That's part of the game. You wanna play a tight end who's not a total clown, right? Sometimes you gotta take chances on these minimum type players here. Mohamed Sanu, one of the worst trades Bill Belichick has ever made, bringing in this guy to be your answer at wide receiver. I've got 2 players from the Patriots essentially passing offense now. The passing offense in New England, if you haven't been paying attention for the last year, sucks. I wanted to give you all some value. I should have been selfish and picked the $21 player, which is John Brown. Let's just move on. All right, let's round this damn thing off with the tight end position, which I'm just sure is gonna be a real treat. Tight end number 1, $20 in daily fantasy, has 58 receptions this year. That's 9th most among tight ends. And their opponent is the 3rd worst defense versus tight end. I'm gonna call my shot now. I think it's Dallas Goedert. Tight end number 2, $13 in daily fantasy, has 3 double-digit fantasy performances in the last 4 weeks. You know what? I think that's Dallas Goedert. I already have a player from the Eagles passing offense in my lineup. You know, I don't really think that they're going to have some prolific performance against the Seahawks. I think it'll be a close, low-scoring game. Look, I'm already in a bad mood because of these picks. For your entertainment, I'm just going to go with the $13 player here. I don't even have a full resume for this guy, but might as well just, you know, bring the whole thing home. Actually, this is not that bad. I was expecting much worse than Jonnu Smith of the Tennessee Titans. Of course, can you guarantee a ton of targets? No, you can't. Of course, this is a value tight end. This is what we're doing here. However, the Patriots do have some slow-footed linebackers. We've seen Jonnu Smith rip off some big plays. I think at tight end, Jonnu Smith, you could do a lot worse. Like, hey, you want to play A.J. Brown? Sure, of course you do. But this might be the sneaky guy to pick in his Titans offense. So that's it. Those are my value picks. Oh, Devin Singletary, that's pretty good. I have James White, don't love that. I have Greg Ward, I can kind of see the logic there. Mohamed Sanu, don't like that. And Jonnu Smith, again, the defining point for the Jonnu Smith pick was it could be worse. Now, Trevor, come here. I don't love to blame my problems on other people all the time, but I am going to blame all of my problems on you today.
Fair enough. What's new?
Trevor's the one who writes the resumes, and I have to say he did a good job making some of these complete dust balls sound appealing and led me into a handful of traps. Now, my advice to you all would be do not have a Trevor make your picks for you. Go make your own picks on yahoo.com/dailyfantasy. Get in a playoff contest now. You don't want to just be watching the games and be entertained by the results and some good old-fashioned defensive football. No, you want to have some cash on the line. So go play daily fantasy for the playoffs. Fantasy football doesn't have to be dead just yet.